Hey, I'm Marcus.
And I'm Nick.
We are Working Class Nerds.
Cue the intro. That's right. We are Working Class Nerds, the podcast that gives you no information about your favorite information.
Today is Thursday, January 28th, 2021, and you can find this podcast anywhere there are podcasts in the galaxy. You want to go to Pluto? You have a digital signal? You can get Working Class Nerds. You can come watch me try to play video games and fail at twitch.tv/MarcusB814. You can find the both of us on Twitter. I am at MarcusB814.
And I am at Nick Vern. That's NickVern. And this week's episode, we're welcoming back Chill and Kitty from the Ootinicast. Welcome back, guys. And
Hey.
Hi!
Nice to be back. How are you guys? What you been up to?
Things are great.
We
Great to hear
good.
from you.
So tell us, let's start with Chill. What have you been up to these past couple weeks?
All right. Well, been playing a lot of SWTOR. Still, my main game as it has been for almost 10 years now. So I've been leveling a gunslinger and going through all the story, including Kopfi, Kotet, the whole thing. Never really have done it on the dirty fighting on a gunslinger. Felt really very different from the scoundrel version. Really like that one. I'm about done with that. I have basically just the Echoes of Vengeance flashpoint to do on her, and then I'd be done. And then the idea was after that I was gonna do some endgame stuff for a while, but a stream viewer and I got to leveling again, so I started up doing a sniper, and I'm doing him as a Winter Soldier cosplay.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
Yeah, sort of
Sweet.
like from like the Winter Soldier movie, that era. It's hard to get
The
the exact look right,
movie.
but I have a nice sort of tactical vest sort of outfit on him. He's got like the long hair and the 5 o'clock shadow. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. And he's doing it as a Chiss mercenary. So we got a bounty hunter and an agent. We're doing, so we're both on Hutta right now. We're just finishing up Hutta. And the other game, which I don't get to talk about on the Ootinicast really, is League of Legends. I do play League of Legends as well. And mostly I'm a jungler on that. So I do jungling. When I don't do jungling, I'm support. So basically, as long as I'm not last hitting, I'm pretty happy. And yeah, so I'm kind of working right now on, well, everyone's always looking to, go up in the ranks. And then there's always that. But I'm looking to kind of change my style. Like technically, or rather historically, I tend to be like a tank jungler, and that's fine and all, but it kind of leaves a lot of it out of my hands. Like I can help things out, but I can't. It's hard to really carry from a tank position. So
Sure.
I'm looking to try some junglers that are more damage and more carry junglers. And it's taking a while to sort of get used to the whole mindset and how much damage do I do? When can I go in and all that? So having fun over there too. But still mostly SWTOR. And then in the evenings when I have time, because I'm also writing for my other podcast, Cryptobiography. But when I have time in the evenings, I do play League of Legends. So yeah.
So what do you think about Riot Games, who make League of Legends, saying that they are currently working on a full-fledged MMO set
Right.
in the League of Legends world?
Yes. Well, I mean, I've been an MMO fan for a long time. I mean, I basically burned myself out on World of Warcraft by playing it so much, and then I kind of came back to it and met Tio, and because I was doing more group stuff, I got back into World of Warcraft, and we played that until basically SWTOR started up. But I've also played other, I played League of Heroes, or City of Heroes and City of Villains. I've played, I've tried Guild Wars, I've tried a few other ones along the way as well. I really like the whole MMO setup, like just how the kind of look and feel you get from MMO, where where your character just kind of continues to develop, and you can go in a bunch of different ways in terms of like what sort of activities you're doing. So I'm interested to see what their take is on it. I don't. I mean, it's certainly not going to replace SWTOR as my only game or anything like that, or even my only MMO. But I'll definitely be checking it out. It sounds like it's still going to be a few years off. It does sound like they've been working on it a while, but it does sound like it's going to be a few years off. Before they can really get it going. But I'm very excited to see how that's going. I've tried a couple of their other games that they have released recently. I did a little bit of their card game, which is very good. It's just not a style of game that I'm particularly fond of. But theirs is very good by all accounts. I've also played some Teamfight Tactics, which has a lot of fun, a lot of little fun aspects as well. But I'm just a big fan of just standard League of Legends, not even like ARAM, not even Earth. I just like regular League of Legends, so that's kind of like my non MMO game right now.
Wow. Well, the thing about that's appealing to me as the League of Legends MMO, Riot Games has basically come out and said we're coming for Blizzard.
Right.
And I think if there's ever, and I think every time an MMO comes out, they're like, will it finally beat World of Warcraft? I don't think it's actually going to beat World of Warcraft, but because you can't, people are invested. I'm going to use SWTOR as an example. I haven't been playing SWTOR for 10 years, but people that have been playing that game for 10 years, whether they only play it once a week or not, they're invested. Right. They've invested 10 years into their life. It's really hard to walk away from something that you've been playing for that long. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I was going to say,
yeah,
I think
they're going to have a real job of it, just like, SWTOR and every other MMO who's sort of gone hard after, like, becoming the premier MMO has had a hard time of it. There is a lot of momentum there. I think ultimately, what's going to take down World of Warcraft is World of Warcraft. Like, if they don't keep things fresh, then eventually people will sort of walk away. One of the reasons I sort of stopped playing, well, it wasn't just because of SWTOR, but for me, like, I left around Pandera, and I just didn't like some of the things they were doing in the game that to me made the game less interesting or less fun to play. I've heard some good things about some of the subsequent expansions that WoW's had, but it hasn't made me come back to it. So I think when they do League of Legends, they have a pretty good fan base. Obviously, there's a lot of people who know at least some about their lore and about the world of Runeterra, where League of Legends is set. So they have a real chance to get a bunch of people going on an MMO, in a good way. And if it's going to come a lot down, I think, most than anything else, because they're going to have like good world building and stuff like that. They've got that sort of thing kind of.
Well,
down.
they pretty much already have it.
Yeah, exactly. The world building is kind of there. It's going to be like, how does the game feel to play? Because a lot of MMOs, I played a lot of MMOs, and I tried some of the free ones, and like they just don't feel good to play. Like, so if they are going to do it as a completely free to play game, it's going to be interesting to see how they are able to do that while monetizing it enough to keep it, good for them in terms of the amount of money they're able to make off of it. But without without falling into some of the traps of the free MMOs that are out there, because a lot of them really get really grindy, or they get pay to win, or there's a lot, like a bunch of problems and a bunch of traps that they can fall into, and we'll see if they avoid them and put out a game sort of look and feel that people really like to play, and we'll see.
Have you guys ever played Final Fantasy 14?
Nope.
I have not. There are definitely people who have that I've talked to recently. It seemed, I mean, it has a pretty good fan base. There's a lot of people who do like it, but
There's a lot of content.
Yeah, when I was really trying other MMOs, was like kind of almost like pre SWTOR, or I tried a few even in the early years of SWTOR just because I was curious. But since then, I haven't. Like, I didn't really try the Wild Space one. I think it's called Wild Space.
Yeah.
And I heard really good things about that one. And similarly, I haven't tried Final Fantasy either. But the people who have played it, seem to like it a lot.
I I get excited for when a game is announced or is coming out. Most of the time,
Mhm.
anytime a game, even if I don't think I'm really going to play it, but I like the concept of it, I'll buy it just to support them. With Riot making an MMO for me, if it's tab target and it has 2020 graphics,
Mhm.
it's going to be really appealing for me. And I'm not saying that there's not going to be a Star Wars MMOE kind of a game coming, but or even SWTOR when they do their graphical update in 7.0. But anyway, the
Tinfoil hat.
yeah, well, what I'm eager about, like I've been playing Final Fantasy 14, which I'll talk about, but for you guys, it's so story rich. I think there's like 1,000 main story quest missions in just the first expansion.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow.
It's
That's a lot.
beautiful. I've watched people play it, and it's a gorgeous game.
But it's different. Anyway, Kitty, what have you been up to?
Well, first, I'd like to apologize to everyone, you guys and the listeners. I ate way too much dinner. I am extremely lethargic. I'm rocking back in my chair, playing with my switchblade, like opening it and just kind of daydreaming here.
I'm
So
kind of scared.
I might be a little wonky this evening. So just heads up.
Wonky is good.
Yeah. And not, I mean, the cat is running around like a crazy person. And I like hear him over in one area and he's clunking around and then zoom, he turbo time like right past me. So there's like chaos going on and I'm like, so I apologize if I'm a little off today. But
It's quite.
regardless, I have been playing my agent and I hit 75 today.
Nice.
And I have been playing through the planetary missions and as well as the class missions, and then even
Wow.
doing the side quests and doing the
Heroics?
planetary bonuses and
Oh, wow.
heroics.
And heroics and
Yeah.
bonuses. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're on what, the third planet and you're level 75? Is that how that works?
I hit Hoth and I'm level 75 now. Oh, and I've been doing the on rail stuff as well. And
Oh, yeah. On rail space missions are fun.
yeah,
So you're doing a complete game, start to finish.
yes. I'm also doing the flashpoints. I have not done the operations, but that's just because I don't have easy access to it. But everything else, and it's really fun. Like I stream for 5 to 6 hours, maybe sometimes even 7 hours when I play, and I have spent the entire day on the planet. So like doing all kinds of whatever it is I'm doing, joking around, talking to people in chat, and then I'm going to close out the stream and I'm like, oh shit, I am still on Hoth. I've been on Hoth all day long.
Oh man, if I spent 6 hours on Hoth, my retinas would just be burnt out.
I was going to say that is a lot of white on your monitor.
Well, I go into what's it called, night mode.
Uh-huh.
So I turn down the blue or whatever it is that causes the headaches, and I also have some sunglasses that I wear when I'm on Hoth. In real life, I wear
I wear my sunglasses on Hoth so I can,
Yeah.
I can.
Totally. But I started playing this character because I hated it when I first started it a couple of years ago, just to kind of try to broaden my horizons in the game. And let's be honest, I've done everything 1,000 times, so breaking it up and trying to do it different is pretty fun. But
would you say that you know all of the conversational choices each way for every class?
yes,
Wow.
I've played every choice that you can play.
Wow.
So, but you know what? I am not that strong a swimmer, so I don't necessarily remember it all. I have I have it all on a what's it called? Not a flow chart. What are they called? businesses use them.
Excel file.
Spreadsheet. Yeah, I got them on a spreadsheet with notes and stuff like that.
You know, I've
But,
never done a spreadsheet before in my life.
It's
Really?
so
Never.
I haven't either. I never did until someone in the guild, she brought it up and I went, oh, you know what? I should check that out. Googled it, started doing it. And now every character I make, I have little notes so that if I want to try something out again, I can do it. But this time he is he's an Imperial purist, but I play him with like a little story arc, you know, like a mild, very mild RP. So he is an asshole, and I hate Cleo.
I love it.
I hate Cleo, but I hated Theron too before I romanced him. And then eventually I was like, oh, Theron's kind of awesome. So I'm romancing Cleo, and I've decided that she has kind of, you know, got into his head. And so now he's a real asshole.
Yeah.
You know, he's
That's
making
awesome.
dick choices just because, you know, Cleo might like it.
Right. Yeah. Because she's a pretty pure sociopath for sure.
Oh, she sucks. But
you go ahead.
oh, I was just hoping that she'd be ride or die. Someone said that. They go, oh, yeah, you got to play it because she's ride or die. And I'm like, all right, that sounds kind of cool. So, you know.
No. Cleo's in it for Cleo.
Oh, yeah, Cleo's in it. She's already, she already talked
she
me into
doesn't care.
going and killing all her old boyfriends.
Right.
And people in chat are like, you know what she's doing? She's manipulating you. I'm like, yeah, I know. That's what we're talking about. She is manipulating us.
Yeah.
We're going for it.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, if you're an agent and a male agent, then the other option is like completely the opposite, because Raina Temple is like such a little teddy bear.
Oh yeah, totally. Can you show me how to shoot my gun? Oh yes, I will. Of course I will. But anyway, so that's his kind of trajectory, and he's in that that asshole phase, and he's eventually going to have like an arc where eventually he is going to want to try to defect over to the Republic. So he's going to be a saboteur.
Long-term saboteur. Cool.
Yeah, I've never done a saboteur on a non-force user. So
That'll be interesting.
Excited to see what happens. And I've only done saboteurs on female characters. I've never done them on a male character. And I'm doing a series of body type 4 males.
I was going to ask you to tell Nick about this because it's hilarious.
And the reason I'm doing that is because I play Nightmare Mode Space Barbies. And outfits.
You got to explain to Nick what that is.
Nightmare Mode Space Barbies?
Oh,
well, I know Space Barbies is just like...
No, just wait. Nick, just wait.
I basically came to the reality in real life that I'm never going to kiss another woman in my life.
Okay.
So I made up Nightmare Mode Space Barbie, which is... there's like little stipulations to it. Like, rule number 1 is you have to look fabulous.
Okay.
One of the other rules is that you can only wear an outfit that is fitting to the environment that your character is in.
Right.
So like I'm on Hoth, I have to have warm clothing.
Right. You can't, no exposed bellies or anything like that.
Right. He's an Imperial officer. So he's got 3 different uniforms that he wears depending on where he's at in the galaxy. So if I go to Dromund Kaas, I wear my Imperial uniform.
Sure.
Right.
If I'm, let's say, and this class is really interesting because the agent goes incognito sometimes. Yeah, so when I do go incognito, for instance, I went as a hunter. So he dressed like a hunter. Oh, like a pirate, I dress like a pirate. And what's the other one? Oh, you can only use mounts that your character would have access to. So if you crash land on a planet, you have to go around and find out what mount you would be able to acquire your character. And then I have a bunch that are unlocked. So I just kind of figure that out. Or, if they're a force user, I'm like, tame whatever creature is, and then you can use that as a mount. And the other thing,
please continue,
is you don't have your companions vanilla. you have to give them a different skin, and you have to dress them up too.
Oh,
And if I'm on a planet that, like what is it, toxic planet,
yeah.
Mhm.
I have to
Gotta
wear
put
a
a mask
breather.
on.
Yeah, you got to wear a breather. So yeah.
So
Very
Quash
cool.
and
So
Terrace and all that. Okay.
now I know what you ladies are thinking, and that's right. I am single. So you know how to get a hold of me.
Well,
And,
Kitty,
looking for my gamer girl.
Well, so I'm just letting you know, if the analytics are true, we're really popular in the UK, in the Netherlands, and France. Everywhere else, we're just average. But in those three countries, we're pretty popular.
Right.
It's you and me, gamer girl. So that's what I've been doing, and being a kitty daddy.
This is fantastic.
So did he explain what his type 4 is? So he's
No.
doing.
Oh yeah. I'm doing a body type 4 because of the. You guys are sound like a couple hyenas over there.
This is fantastic.
Um,
It's the Greek laugh, okay?
I love it. So I did it because the outfits look different on a body type 4 character.
Right. They're all warped out wide.
They're plus
Mhm.
fabric body
Right.
types.
Right.
And
Sheets.
I wanted to see what they look like. Yeah, they are.
Omar the tent maker made them.
That's right.
And just
Baklar,
for
the tent
and
maker.
just for the record.
Imperial Battle Moo.
Yeah, exactly. But just so you guys know, I am a body type 4
Oh, you're a body
No.
type 4 in real life?
for sure.
I can't wait to give you a hug someday, Marcus.
Maybe a 3, but no, probably a 4.
No, I don't think there is an enormous jump between 3 and 4.
Enormous.
Don't
Yeah.
you think?
Yeah, but
Well, yeah.
3 body type 3 to me is like that.
Yeah.
Perfect
One is skinny,
muscular.
2 is sort of like
Yeah.
generic heroic. 3
Yeah.
is like super heroic because it's tall and extra muscular.
Yeah.
And then 4 is actually
Is me.
it's overweight. It's over.
Yeah.
And it's also really big. Like
I don't-
body size 4 is taller than body size 2, and they're really wide. So
They're
they're
the-
really big.
They're
Marcus,
the
you're a little more-
butterbean category.
Yeah, they're butterbean.
Exactly.
They're
That's
butterbean.
me.
Yeah, but you're not butterbean shaped. You're like tall, but then just have like a pear shape to you. That's all.
Yeah, I look like
Dad.
I look like
You're a
I look like
dad.
Pat. Yeah, I look like Patrick from SpongeBob.
Only because your head is like long and skinny.
Yeah. Anyway,
You sound
um,
like
Do
a
a pink Twilight
cartoon character.
Colin Patrick.
I am a cartoon character.
Yeah, I knew it.
I'm animated.
But that's about it.
Well, so anyway, so Nick, but what he was saying is, I just heard the bell.
Ding.
Is that he's doing a series of these body type 4s, and what are you calling them?
Big boys. Big boys, big kitties.
That's fantastic.
Yep. So Nick, I know what you just did.
Yeah.
But what have you been up to? I think did we record last week?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's only been a week. I'm gonna end with my first bullet point, which is what I just did before we started recording. But largely this week I've been prepping for my new job. I worked Friday, and
Very
then
nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So yeah, I don't know if you guys know specifically. So I currently work until tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. I work in the emergency department at a hospital near here.
Oh, cool.
And I'll be going to the clinical research department of the hospital. So I'll be doing research instead, which is dramatically cushier for more money and way less stress, and I don't have to take care of dying people all the time. It's pretty sweet.
Nice.
Definitely a life quality of life improvement.
That's so
Yeah.
awesome to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty stoked. But that involves I'll be half in the hospital, half in the office. I have to get business casual clothes and new scrubs and pretend to actually be an adult, and I'll have a cubicle and stuff. So
You know what's funny is I was listening to last week's show and you talked about having to get business casual, and I went,
Yeah.
"What the hell is business casual?" And then Marcus
That's
goes,
what I
"I gotta ask, what is business casual?" I was laughing.
yeah, it's okay. It's if you wear a suit with no tie, or a button-down shirt with
Mhm.
nicer pants and dress shoes or something.
Can you do a
Yeah.
polo shirt?
I think polo shirts are fine. I don't really have a lot of polos anyway. I have like a bunch of button downs, so it's fine.
Nick's
There you
going to
go.
be going to Kohl's.com.
Exactly. I literally went to Kohl's like 4 times. I'm like, because I keep being like, I can't find a shirt. I'm like, I gotta like keep looking for shit. So, anyways, that's what I've been doing.
We're going to a wedding next week. I don't know-
Exactly. And then we have a wedding next weekend.
And I don't even know where my suit is.
Congratulations, you two.
You know we're cousins.
You've
right?
been zapped.
That's awesome. We're from Massachusetts, not Alabama. Okay.
No,
Anyways.
no, it's. I think no, it's legal here.
What? Gay marriage?
Yeah.
Gay marriage is legal here. But I'm saying
No, family gay marriage. Sorry.
that was fantastic.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway.
Oh my god.
you're saying you can't find your suit. We're going to a wedding in New
So
Hampshire.
I can't. I have no idea where it is. So we moved. I don't know, a couple months ago now, and
Yeah.
my wife just said to me, "Hey,
Where's your suit?
where's your suit?" I don't know. Well,
I don't
just
know.
find
Oh, boy.
it and get it to the dry cleaner.
Probably.
Probably.
It sounds like a problem for Thursday, Marcus. The day
Dry
before.
cleaner.
Well,
And it was some Febreze. It'll be fine.
well, listen.
It's not the
I
the
can't-
cleanliness, it's the wrinkles because
Yeah,
it's
but-
definitely in like a trash bag in a corner somewhere.
Oh,
Because
no.
Marcus is like, "Oh my god, we're moving! I gotta go."
Whenever I bring my clothes to the dry cleaner, the lady just shakes her head at me and says, "Have a good day," and she's flipping me off as I'm walking out the door. She's like,
Here's
"Where's
what you
this
do.
going?"
Put your suit, on hangers. Put it in the bathroom, and while everybody's showering, it will steam it, and
That
it'll
does
get all
work.
the wrinkles out.
That does work a little bit, but it won't do anything for the ketchup stains on the front.
No, it's not. See, it's not. Well, yeah, it's like right under your chest.
Yeah,
I have like that shelf right there.
The belly
All
shelf.
of the belly shelf. It hit. That's where all the food hits.
That's dessert.
Oh my god. Anyway, so I also have been playing paintball every Sunday, which is pretty sweet. And maybe, just maybe, Marcus will join us someday.
It's coming. It's happening.
I don't know if
I'm making a comeback. So our friend, a good friend of ours, his son is old enough to play now, and so
Shout out Matt Rivard.
Yeah, and we are going to be playing a tournament series next year. I am so excited for it.
Oh,
Anyways,
cool.
what else, Nick? Come on, I'm waiting for the big one.
I've been watching WandaVision. I'm caught up with it. Have anybody else been watching?
I don't understand it.
I've been watching it with my wife. I think it's interesting. Yeah.
It
I
is
like how
very
they're
vague.
like clearly setting up something, but they're not like tipping their hand too early.
Yeah. If you, I know Marcus, do you really want to watch it?
No.
Not no interest at all.
Well, I mean, I don't watch a lot of TV.
Yeah.
So I'll talk about myself in a minute, but like for me, like I want to finish Rebels, and that's what I'm really focusing on.
Yeah, of course.
But I feel like the MCU, and this is where all the MCU people are going to kill me.
Yeah.
I feel like the MCU put all their eggs in one basket right away.
Yeah.
So for 10 years, they did the best of the best. And now I feel, and people are going to get mad at me for saying this, I feel like all of the MCU characters that are here now are like the B team. And I understand they're trying to build it up again because I've been reading the Avengers comics, and the Avengers come and go, and I get all that. But it's going to be really hard to suck me back in after Captain America, Iron Man, Fat Thor, the Hulk. Even what's the newest Spider-Man?
His name.
Yes.
Tom Holland.
Yeah, Tom Holland. Yeah, he's the best Spider-Man ever.
Mhm.
Yeah, because he's like more. I like how he's like aged the right age.
And he's it's just his attitude.
Yeah.
And like, I'm done with the origin stories, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so done. Like, I don't need to see another, Spider-Man 1. Like, he gets bit by a spider.
Right?
Yeah, the origin
Yeah.
stories. But for
Yeah.
me, the WandaVision, like, Vision and Wanda are never like
big characters.
big characters for me growing up.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to get sucked in. Like the Winter Soldier show that's coming, like that's interesting to me because I remember reading the comics with Winter Soldier and he was an interesting character. So that intrigues me.
Yeah.
But I feel like the cast, they're going to need to do something big to like
Suck you back in.
right. Like the bobbers in the pond with the worm. And I'm just swimming around waiting to go to my demise and get sucked in. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
To get caught.
but you're not interested in that worm yet.
No. And everything I've been hearing about the WandaVision isn't that it's bad. It's just everybody says it's the responses that I've gotten are it's weird.
Yep.
It's not a conventional show,
Definitely not.
and it's hard to follow.
I agree. So I've been enjoying WandaVision. Obviously, I like Marvel stuff too, but I've been enjoying WandaVision more for like its filmmaking, sort of. Like what's the word I'm looking for? Cinematography and like the way it's shot and like it's so. I'll try to be not super spoilerly, but obviously, it's Vision and Wanda trapped in some sort of weird sitcom, right, into the 50s. You can tell that from the trailer. And like as the episodes go on, they go through like different decades of sitcoms that they're like stuck in, and you don't know why, you don't know what's happening.
Mhm.
That's the plot of the show. But I think it's really cool to like see these characters start to figure it out within like the movie making techniques to make it look just like those old like decade
Yeah.
accurate shows. You know what I'm saying? So for that, it's cool. Although I'll agree with sort of the reviews that it's a little slow paced. Like, I mean, I'm through episode 3 now, and it's like just starting to sort of pick up into like the larger overarching plot is starting to show through. You know, what do you guys think about it?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It makes it a very interesting kind of mix of sort of harkening back to like these very old shows, like older than I am, and I'm 50. You know, it's like these are shows that came out in the 50s and 60s for the most part,
Right.
but then also like lots of hints that something very serious is going on, because there's like it feels very Twilight Zone-y, which is interesting because that's another 50s show. But there's like little hints that like something is very, very wrong with this world that they're in, but exactly what it is completely unclear, and
Right.
kind of deliberately so. And it's kind of also funny because even over the first 3 episodes, there's a lot of sort of moving forward. There's a lot of pushing, because in episode 3 is when it goes from black and white to color, like TV shows did in the mid 60s. But like
Right.
the first episode was about sort of like having a dinner party over an embarrassment that might happen. And it was very much in the style of The Honeymooners and I Love Lucy. And then the
Right.
second episode was about how the neighbors, they have to impress the neighbors. And it was very much in the style of a slightly later show, maybe like a Leave It to
I think it was
Beaver
supposed to be
sort
like
of
early
that sort of
60s.
show.
Something
Yeah,
like-
exactly.
Yeah.
And then in this last show, there is a pregnancy, and there is, there's these other things that did not come around until the sitcoms of the 70s, like the Brady
Right.
Bunch. And it felt very Brady Bunchy at moments. So they're doing like this interesting thing where not only are they hearkening back to old shows, but they're kind of doing it in chronological order. And for the same reason the TV episodes themselves go from black and white to color, which is another indication that they're sort of moving forward in time in terms of like what sort of show they're going after. And it'll be interesting to see like when that breaks down. Like, are they going to reveal things soon enough, and then it's going to stay in like a 70s sort of feel, or is it going to keep moving? Is it going to become like 80s, and it's going to be like like the Huxtables, or Growing Pains, or one of those, like what's going to happen?
I think it is
going forward, and it to me, it's very interesting because of that.
I can't wait to hear them I can't wait till they get to like Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah,
Seinfeld.
Right, when it gets really, really, really wild and really modern. Yeah, it goes handheld, and
because it's the Office style. And
Office style, right? Like that sort of thing.
They're doing like testimonials to the camera.
The funniest part is when I walk by and I see my wife watching Seinfeld, and it's still relevant today. But the funniest part is when the phone rings and he's got the giant cordless phone with like the 4-foot long antenna.
Right.
And I'm just like, wow, that's what it used to be like.
Yeah. Way better.
Yeah. And it's funny, Marcus, because you're saying how like these weren't characters that you're interested in. But to me, that was sort of like, it was almost the miracle of the MCU, because like the MCU for the most part was not people think of it as big now, but they were not the big characters like in the 80s and so on, and 90s. Like Captain America, I mean, he was well known and everything, and he'd been around a long time, but people were all about the X-Men and like all these newer and a lot of new things that were going on, and the X-Men movies came out earlier, and I didn't give a damn about Iron Man, like not until like Robert Downey Jr., like literally not until the first Robert Downey Jr. I didn't give a damn about Iron Man. I didn't care about Captain America. All those guys kind of sucked. Like Thor, like who reads Thor? No one read Thor as a kid. Like
I hated Thor.
It was
Really?
like, what? Thor?
Yeah.
Really? Yeah. But
So-
to me, that's the cool thing is like they're finding ways to make these characters like really interesting. And for me, that's actually it's kind of funny that you say that, because like for WandaVision, Wanda and Vision were the two characters from the MCU movies that was like, yeah, they were there, and it's like, yeah, it was kind of important, at the end of Infinity War and all that. But I didn't really care about them at all, even in the MCU. But
Well, I think
now
that's
we get
my point.
another chance to like see these characters develop in new ways, and it's kind of cool to see. So to me, it's kind of the opposite. It's like I'm interested in seeing like characters that are have kind of been there, but I don't really know that much about or never really cared about before, and having an opportunity to like give them a chance to really make something of themselves. So for me,
Well,
this is kind of cool.
I do agree that, let's see, for me growing up, like Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor were like, I have comics from 1965 of Iron Man. You know what I mean? And like for me, like that's growing up, that was my guy. But I was a huge comic book guy as a kid, and seeing Robert Downey Jr. made Iron Man what he is today, right?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like everybody else. And I guess you're right. But I to add to your point, I just need more context for Wanda and Vision for me to be hooked on it. You know what I mean? Maybe
Right.
it's a full season of them doing the show, and then later in season 2, that's when I pick it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It could be like that.
I've been known to do that.
And it's true because of the way that they're setting up these first things with sort of like this mysterious, whatever that's happening with the show going on in the background. It's like you're not really getting a lot of real background on these characters because something is sort of forcing them into this little box, like where they're having to act like TV show characters. But I think once that sort of breaks open, we're going to see, we're going to get a little more actual sort of character development, as opposed to this this artificial one, which is very much, on purpose. They're doing this on purpose. They're keeping these characters in like this really bizarre, otherworldly Twilight Zone-y box on purpose. And to me, that's kind of cool. And I am kind of looking forward to seeing like how it breaks open and like what is actually going on. So yeah. Original Twilight Zone, man. Some amazing stuff.
All right. So Nick, tell me.
Yeah.
What is in that PC?
So I bought a desktop.
You just said that.
I did?
Well, like 42 minutes ago.
Well, that was
No,
right
I said it
we
before
started,
the
wasn't it?
show. It was on the show. I bought a desktop
All
right before we started the show. I clicked the button. It's coming Thursday. Thursday.
Next Thursday?
Yes.
It'll come faster. Is it shipping directly from Newegg?
Yeah.
And is it shipping from New Jersey?
I don't know. I didn't
Because
get,
if
I
it
didn't
says
get
it's
that. I
showing,
just clicked it 42 minutes ago.
All right, because if it's coming from New Jersey, you'll have it tomorrow.
What?
Yeah, tomorrow or Saturday.
That's not good. There goes my whole day.
Well, obviously.
Okay. Anyways.
Everything works out for me.
Yeah. So anyways, so it's got a, let me just take it from the top. I'll save the video card for last. I already sent it to you guys, but so Windows 10, of course, 750 watt power supply,
Nice.
terabyte SSD,
Whoa.
Good.
Nice.
16 gigs of DDR4, liquid cooling, Asus Prime motherboard. I think it's the 490p.
490 is the that's the socket for your CPU.
Speaking of which, CPU is Intel i7 10th gen, it's the 10700K.
Nice.
3.8 gigahertz, 5.1 gigahertz turbo boost, 8
Wow.
core,
That's when
16 thread.
That's when we overclock it and burn it up. But
Yeah,
anyway,
we're
keep going.
just nuclear meltdown the PC, and an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3080 10 gigabyte.
3080.
card.
Woo!
Whoa.
Yes, indeed.
Mm.
I wanted it to conquer all,
Well, I do believe
basically all.
So when you buy a computer, I say the more you spend on the front end, you're just buying years down the road.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
Like my computer, I've been building over the years, and my computer probably like a year or two ago, probably 2 years ago, it was top of the line.
Yeah.
Because I spent, $1,200 on a GPU. So what you've done is you've bought years of lasting quality.
Right.
The only thing you're going to need to do is put more RAM in it, and that computer's going to you'll be fine for the next 4 to 5 years.
Right. That's what I figured.
Because the new graphics cards, they're not even making games other than Cyberpunk. The games aren't even actually Cyberpunk isn't even made for those cards.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk was made for the next generation of cards.
Right.
And that's what's crazy. So you basically bought yourself years of quality gaming.
Yeah. I'm really pumped about it.
And what's really going to be nice is you don't have to do the laptop anymore. Like pull it out of the bag, set it up to play a game.
Right.
Your laptop is just going to start sitting in your backpack, and you're going to turn it on. And it's going to be like, you have 50 Windows updates.
Right.
That's so funny. That's what it is. I haven't opened my laptop, I swear, in like 6 months.
Yeah. It'll be basically me updating it before I do the podcast because I bring it over for my show notes.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm really, really pumped about it. Anyways, Marcus, what have you been doing?
Oh my!
At some point, we got to get to the show topic.
We'll get there when we
There's
get
no
there.
rush.
Yeah, there's no rush. Maybe Kitty. Wait, Kitty said he has to go to bed. It's like 6:30. What time do you go to bed, Kitty?
Usually right now.
At 6:30 at night?
Maybe 7.
What time do you get up?
When I sleep, I get to fly and shit. Why do I want to stay awake?
See, I have the opposite. See,
Yeah.
I don't typically
sleep.
dream, so I stay up as late as I can doing the things I enjoy.
Yeah, I don't.
You know what I mean? It's like me time, especially if
Yes.
I work.
Yeah.
Then I like stay up late way after, and then I'm fucked for the next day. But
I sit in bed for a little while and I watch TV, so I might stay up till like 8 or 9.
okay,
All right.
but it's like the you time to like
Yeah, and
your designated decompression.
sometimes I get up at like 4 a.m. So
Yeah.
4 or 5. I like living on this planet where other humans aren't around. when other people are doing sleeping things, I like to be out running errands, so there's no lines.
Oh, that's fair.
That I understand.
Mhm.
You're the 7 o'clock grocery store guy.
Oh man, 7 a.m. I'm telling you.
That is the best.
It is the best because the store is clean. Nobody's in there except
Everything's perfectly
except
stocked.
a few. Yeah, perfectly stocked. And there's always too many workers there. So like, if you need to know where, like, hey, do you have any Raisin Nut Brand? Sure, let me show you the aisle,
Yes.
and I'll show you where it is.
They
Where
do.
you go there at like 10 o'clock in the morning or 12. Hey, do you know where it is? Yeah, I think it's in aisle 13, 3/4 of the way down. But if it's not 13, it might be 16. Good luck, buddy. See ya. Boom. And he's gone.
Right.
So I do understand what you're saying.
Yeah, although what I've noticed is that there are people are shopping online, and so there's a bunch of people with these trolleys getting
Mhm.
people's orders from online. So there's
Mhm.
more of those people there than there are actual people.
Yes. The Instacarters and
Yeah,
all that stuff. Or I don't know if you guys have Instacart where you are.
I got caught being a dick the other day though at the market. I grabbed a cat bed that I thought I wanted, and then I went, I don't want. I decided I didn't want it, so I kind of threw it up on the top shelf of one of the things, and I turned around. There's a lady looking at me, and she just has this defeated look on her face, and I go, I'm going to grab that and go ahead and put that away myself. And she's like, she saw that I made the gesture, and she goes, "It's okay, sweetie." And I go, "Nope, this was a dick move. I'm not going to let this happen." And I went and put it away. Now every time I see her, we kind of smile.
Yeah.
Aw.
Oh, is
You
it
had a
someone who
moment.
works there?
Yeah, it was someone that worked there.
Oh, got it.
Could that be your next kiss?
She was like 80. So yeah.
Oh,
So what?
perfect. Anyway,
Dude, what do you think happens at nursing homes? That's literally the highest population rate besides like 18 to 24-year-olds. Outside of that, it's people 85 and up in nursing homes. Highest rate of STDs, I should say.
Well, that's where I go on my dates, That's why I'm in bed so early.
how do you even know that?
Me?
Yeah.
Because I fucking take care of them.
Oh. Okay. Anyway,
He's
so
a voyeur. You're a voyeur, Nick. You know it.
anyway, so what I have found
Oh,
is I'm finding myself spending most nights playing video games and streaming. So right now my current schedule is Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturdays. And Tuesdays and Wednesdays is rating, and I'm doing hard mode Duxon with we don't have a team name yet, I don't think. But anyway, so we're doing hard mode Duxon. We cleared all of it except the Apex Predator.
Wow.
Last night was our first night progging the Apex Predator, and we got him to 73%. Well, because I don't quite know what that is. It's like a cross between a Krogan, a lobster, a crab, a dinosaur, and I don't even know what else. It's just a freak of a thing. But anyway, and I'm really enjoying it. But what I'm finding challenging for me in streaming operations content is I feel like I can't engage as much in the chat as I do as my Saturday nights. Like my Saturday nights, I call it the free for all. I may play Final Fantasy 14, but mostly I do like story content and SWTOR. And right now I'm about to land on Voss, and then it's just Corellia, and I finished the class story. Bromance Kitty is, I think he's level 40 something. I don't use the XP gear. Yeah, the gear. I use an XP boost, but I don't use the gear because I kind of like landing at landing at a planet and only being like one level above level of that planet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
One level above level. Yeah. So I've been playing, like I've talked about, Bromance Kitty is I've modeled this character after Kitty, and I use the terms all the time. He's a pimped out player from the South. So if you're thinking about what a true smuggler is, that's Kitty. So anything that he can hit on, he hits on, and he hits on them hard. I remember there was this one, just this random like royalty female on Alderaan. And the minute he walks in and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you're here." And there was a response like, "Oh yeah, what do you guys need?" And then it was like something else. And then there was one that was like, "Do you want to just go get a room right now?" And I was like, "Oh my God, that's the button." So
How'd it go?
it went fantastic. She instantly started blushing, and it just worked. And I find that every planet I'm hitting, I'm getting a little bit of private time with all of these story characters before I leave, and he's leaving happy because what's the Wookiee's name?
Bodor.
Oh, Bodor. Yeah. Bodor's always like, "I'll meet you back at the ship."
He's a good wingman.
Yes, he is a good wingman. And I've been trying to find the soundbite of "bow chicka wow wow." So then and I can have it on my stream deck. So every time they disappear, I can get "bow chicka wow wow." But anyway, so Master Lil, I met him through Kitty's stream. He's been like my right hand man in helping me Nightmare Space Barbie as best as I can because I've never done it before.
Nice. Yeah, Lil's a good guy.
Yep.
Yeah, he is.
And so he'll come in the stream and start yelling at me that I'm not wearing the proper attire. But I've gotten really good about the mounts. So as soon as I land, I find the mount vendor and I buy the new mount for the planet.
There you go.
So whatever mount, yep. And I kind of like, this is going to sound weird. I kind of like the vanilla companions. They don't they're perfect to me. They don't need any plastic surgery.
That's look
They don't need to
fabulous.
be-
Rule
yeah.
number one.
Right. They don't need to be Kim Kardashian. You know what I mean? So
No nip tuck required.
yes, exactly. So but anyway, so Saturday nights are really, really fun, and I feel like those are the nights that I can really like connect with the chat, because when on operations nights I do enjoy it because that's like my content to do. But somebody will come in and I'll be in mid fight, and if the fight is 15 minutes long, like I may say, like I'll see like the chat move, and I'll just say, when this fight's over, I'll be
I'll
able to
read it.
say hello. And then if we wipe, the team is talking about it, and I'm not talking to the chat. So it's really, I'm having that hard.
It's hard to engage and
Yes,
also be
yes.
in
Yeah,
focusing on the operation.
Correct.
Yeah.
The other thing is I've been playing a ton of Final Fantasy 14. I'm usually like, I don't believe in the buy two sub thing at once. But what I did was I bought a 60-day time card for Final Fantasy. So then I don't have a reoccurring bill.
Yeah.
Just to try it. And Dr. Gameology, friend of our show, friend of your show, has he's been playing it a lot, and him and I have been playing it a ton together. And it's really fun to be able to do that.
Yeah. That is
Then
fun.
and then lastly, this Sunday, so I don't know if I'm going to stream on Saturday. I probably will, but Sunday is going to be a big bonus stream. It's my birthday.
Sunday.
So
Sunday.
Sunday. So Sunday's my birthday. I am going to do my first ever birthday stream.
Nice.
Oh,
Happy
nice.
birthday.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I'm excited for that because, why not celebrate your birthday doing something awesome? And everybody else in my house is sound asleep at 9:00 at night. So why not hang out with everybody?
Nice.
How are you going to deal with the distraction of me hitting you with the lightsaber in the background?
That's okay too.
Thunk,
Yeah, but that's okay. No,
thunk,
you
thunk.
won't be hitting me because you're going to be playing with a keyboard and mouse at that point on your laptop here. But anyway,
That's true too.
so I've been kind of.
What do you have for a lightsaber?
Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm acting out you bonking Marcus on the head.
Poor Nexu.
Bonk.
So but I'm really looking forward to the whole birthday stream idea. Everybody says you got to do it.
Yeah.
And shout out to Kogas. He was like, Marcus, just do it. It's really fun. So I'm calling everybody out. Anybody who plays on Starforge, because it's the best server.
Yep.
We all know that.
Yes.
And they're on Satil Shan, of course. So
What?
Hey!
Guys, I was just starting to like you.
Oh.
Anyway, so if you're on Starforge and you want to come play. I don't know. We're going to do a mishmash of stuff. If we have a ton of people, we'll do an operation. If we don't, we'll do some flashpoints. Actually, I'll get into that in 1 second. So this Sunday, January 31st, 9 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/MarcusB814, birthday stream. Come say hi.
What up?
In SWTOR news, shout out to Kogas. He sent me this link about the ranked PvP season 13 rewards. So Kogas made it his job to focus on ranked PvP this year like crazy, because I guess they're releasing a bunch of old items from previous seasons, I guess. I'm not sure how that all works, but
I think I remember us talking about that.
Right. So it's like, I think, Chill, is it replicas?
Yeah, exactly. It's basically the same items, but if you end up hovering over them and like examining someone, the item will say replica in the title, and so there's still a slight difference between the originals and these replica ones, and even the replica ones are going away eventually.
Right. So basically, he said, he was going to grind out tokens, and he's got I think he said he has 1.75 million tokens that he's going to have now.
Wow.
So he could buy almost everything that's available from the token vendor. That's how much ranked PvP he's played this season.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
good for him though. He's setting out a goal to be able to do that, and he's crushing it.
Right. And then they released some, the season 13 gear, like their I don't know what you would call it. like their armor sets. They're pretty cool. I mean, the Furious armor sets are pretty sweet. They're on fire. And there's some cool mounts and stuff. And what I like about it is you can only get these color crystals, armor pieces, all that stuff from
ranked PvP.
Ranked PvP. So
I love that.
Man, 2 of those are cool.
Can you see this?
The Furious
What I just
weapons
made?
are just very, very cool looking and very pretty, and they have really nice effects on them.
The like gold and yellow one looks like is that a green outside? Is that what that is? I can't tell. Sorry, in the bottom left.
Yeah, that's green and yellow, maybe.
It comes out like almost like the golden like lightsaber. It reminds me of the High Republic. I don't know why.
Yeah. I didn't even talk about the High Republic.
I know. We talked about it last episode.
Okay. All right.
So we're good.
So anyway, so if you're playing ranked PvP, you only have probably a month or so or 3 weeks to go. And then they mentioned season 14.
So their update on season 14 says, now for the million credit question. When will season 14 start? Season 14 will begin later this spring. Da-na-na-na. So either March or April, I'm assuming. We'll have an article announcing the launch of season 14, so be sure to keep your eyes peeled for that announcement. That's it for the Rank Season 13 recap. We've broken down the ratings. This is the end of the breakdown notes. But yeah, later in the spring, they get season 14.
Oh, and then they said there's a few weeks left in the current season, so get those final games while you can. So we're in month what? Call it February.
It's about to be February.
Yeah, so they end it in February, and then later spring. What's later spring? April?
Yeah, March or April.
Well, later spring. So April or May?
Later this spring. I think May. When does summer start? June? Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably April or May.
Yeah.
Yeah,
June 23rd or something like that.
And I just want to, I have to take a minute and just mention that if you're a guild and you invite people into your guild to get their conquest points, and then after a week you kick them out, you are an asshole. And I read about this last week, and I didn't mention it last week. And I know they're making changes to it, the conquest system. I know it's coming, but I just want you to know, like, if you're listening to the show and you're in one of those guilds that do that, you're an asshole. That's not right. But I can't even, like, the things people will do to somebody, it just boggles my mind.
It's all. I can't believe I didn't talk about this in my "What have I been up to" section.
Well, it's because we're right here in AIE news. Oh my God, the AIE Con was this past weekend.
That's so amazing.
Yes,
it was great,
and it was the first annual, like first time ever. I mean, it was great. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about what happened and how it happened. So the whole thing started off with a guild town hall, and it basically talked about everything going on in AIE, all the games, all the divisions, what the officers are doing. We talked about the con, what was coming, and then bam, the night started. And so everybody knows there was board games, there was D&D, there was like open like party games like Jackbox games and Among Us, and then there was panels and podcasts and all these things. So what happened was
being streamed.
Right. So Nick and myself, we teamed up with Max and Seema from the Escape Podcast. We did a joint podcast. So last week's episode, if you listen to Escape Podcast or you listen to ours, it's the exact same episode. There was no difference.
Nice.
Cool. And we did that live on the AIE Guild and New Overlords Twitch channel, which is Max's channel. It was awesome. And we kind of did like a hybrid show. It was just a lot of fun. There, that first night, there was an open casual games section. I think they played a bunch of Jackbox games.
Yep. I chimed in on the chat for some of those.
That was led by Stu. And then Albus is a board game expert, and he has this game called Forgotten Waters. It's a pirate game, and he hosted the first night there. Then we had 2 D&D sessions with Bach and Cadavari. That was just Friday night. Then into Saturday, we had a board game panel with real industry board game developers, somebody that owns a board game store, and then a board game like designer. So he's like I don't want to say a consultant, like a subcontractor. So Plaid Hat Games was the game dev that was there. The other guy who's like a subcontractor, they hired him to create a board game. So like this was a real panel of like industry professionals, where if this was like a board game convention, this would have been one of the panels there.
Yeah, 100%.
I watched it, and then the one of the guy who owns the store offered a 10% off discount to everybody for the rest of the month on your first time purchase, which is awesome. Saturday, so we had the board game panel, then friend of our show, Nick Irafino, and I did an indie game developer interview. That's the video is on my Twitch and on AIE's YouTube channel.
You did a great job with those questions, by the way.
Thanks.
I know you don't like the direct compliment, but you did.
No, I felt comfortable because I know him.
Yeah.
Like I've kept in contact with him all these past couple of years,
right,
through his game. And I don't know if you guys know this, but if I have your phone number, I'm a guy that'll just text you, "Hey, hope you're doing well," randomly, or send you a funny meme about a stormtrooper that's really depressed sitting at the bar because he has nothing to do because all of his friends
that one
killed.
today.
No, because all of his friends got killed in the Death Star tragedy. You know what I mean? But that's who I am. I keep in touch with everybody. It's just who I am. So anyway, so Nick came on. We talked about how he even became to start making an indie game, all the way through the process and then to release. And what was awesome is we had a bunch of people watching the show. I think he sold 10 copies of the game during the stream for his show.
Nice.
Wow. During his panel, which was awesome. And then again at night, we had another Forgotten Waters game. Nick actually ended up streaming a Star Wars Legion game with his buddy.
Yep. Friend of the podcast, Joey Feta.
Which is that tabletop, like real figure, kind of like, it's basically chess.
Yeah, chess with Star Wars characters instead of pieces.
Yeah.
And like unique rules and sort of movesets. Not like, it's not like somebody is filling in for the queen or something.
Right.
You're designing your own 3x6 foot table with terrain. For reference, my buddy Joey had just finished painting his clone trooper army, or I should say Galactic Republic army, and I was playing as the Separatists, so I was the Roger droids.
Roger.
With with Grievous and Dooku as my two commanders, but so they all have like unique rules and regulations, and you have to roll dice for attacking and defending, respective squads and things like that.
Cool.
It was very interesting. I love playing that game.
But so Nick was live on Discord.
I just kind of like threw it together. I was like,
but
hey,
that's perfect.
Why don't we? I was like, oh, we've got all this cool stuff going on. This is very obviously on brand. I might as well at least toss it in Discord and stream if anybody wants to stop by and take a peek.
In my opinion, when you guys play it, you should always stream it.
Yeah, but we're going to now.
Yeah, and like put it on Twitch. And here's the thing, it's like podcasts. I tell everybody, start a podcast, start a Twitch stream, just start. You don't have a camera? No problem. Just click the live button, because you can talk about doing it forever. But until you click that go live or hit the record on Audacity or Zencaster or whatever, it's only talk.
Right.
You know what I mean? And our first episode, the sound quality was terrible. I think we had the gain at 100.
Yeah.
You could hear like a pin needle fall in the kitchen that was like a half a mile away, or somebody dropping a pan, or a baby screaming. You know what I mean? Yeah. But the sound was terrible.
Yeah.
But anyway, so this happened Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then to close out the whole thing, the AIE as a greater guild has its own podcast called the AIE Podcast. And they did a full recap show, talked about everything that happened over the weekend. Shout out to Gusty, who Nick doesn't know it. He's going to find out now, is going to meet her and her son in real life, because they're doing AIE t-shirt run. And she lives in Natick.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. So we're going to take a ride out and we'll go to the Cheesecake Factory or something and grab some food. But anyway.
Sweet.
Yeah. So the whole
Plenty of
event.
cool stuff in Natick.
Yes. So the whole thing got canceled, closed out by doing the AIE podcast, which was the perfect way to end the show or end the weekend. Shout out to everybody who helped. There's, Stu, Dan Kinia, Bach, Cadavari, Albus. He had a friend who'd played a different game. I don't remember his name. All the board game people. A huge shout out to Max, Seema, and Lucy, because you guys really like coordinated everything and like were involved. We were calling it all the officers were on hot standby to help anybody who needed. So we were all hot standby officers for the weekend.
Max was so helpful, like offering to promote the Legion game stream and things like that. And it was
and
it was just very welcoming.
Right.
The whole event.
Yeah, and it was just different because you guys know we all play video games together, but when was the last time you played a board game? I mean, I can't even. Well, I have 2 little kids, so I play board games and Barbies all the time. So, I do that stuff, but it was such a special event, and actually now I'm kind of looking forward to next year's. And it all started. We were all in a meeting, and I said, "Let's do a con. We're all stuck in our house. Where nobody's going on vacation. There's no PAXs. There's no E3. There's nothing. Gamescom. There's no events. Let's do a virtual con." And it just stemmed up, and everybody just took it from there.
It was
That's
quite
so
the accomplishment.
Awesome. I love it that you guys did that. It's such a great idea.
The AIE Guild blows my mind because we're not just one game. They play all the games.
It's awesome.
It is awesome. Speaking of which, if all this sounds fun to you, go to AIE-guild.org, jump in the Discord, and ask for a guild invite, whether or not you play Star Wars The Old Republic or any of the other games we play. And we mean any of the other games we play. We'd love to have you. Come on down.
And just for the record, we're just going to say this. If you play on the Starforge and SWTOR, obviously go to AIE. But if you're on the Satil Shan, and we do feel bad for you, but if you are... Guys, how can they get to Ootinicast?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Or, well, how can they?
Yeah, you got to tell them how to find it.
Oh,
How
you
can
cut
they
out
find you?
at the end there.
Oh, sorry.
If he said how can you find Ootinicast?
Right. Well, we're on, Apple Podcasts and Stitcher and all the, sort of big podcast.
The Guild.
The Guild in the game.
Emulators. Yeah, exactly. Our guilds are at, you just join Ootinicast and, ask for an invite. You're basically it's for people who know about the podcast. So you might get in and ask a question, about the podcast, just sort of keep you honest, but we're pretty casual other than that. And so we have one on each side. We have Ootini Knights on the Republic side, Ootini Rage on the Empire side.
Just for the record, it's Ootini Rage.
That's right. It's always better to say it that way. Yes.
All right, Nick, do you have to use the bathroom?
I absolutely do. So we'll be right back.
Jeez, Nick, hurry up. We're trying to finish this podcast.
And we're back. So today we're discussing
the awesomeness of Ootinicast and how a show can be around for as long as it is, be as awesome as they are, have 3 co-hosts and 1 main host that has lasted for over 400 episodes. I just wanted to surprise you guys with this because it's such an awesome feat what you guys have done. 400 episodes is no joke. And I just want to kind of go back in the way back time machine with you, Chill. Yeah, the rewind. Right.
I'm trying to make that like the
rewind sound.
No. See, that was a great rewind sound. I was trying to go for that like bubbly transition for like 1950s shows where they like oh
yeah,
but I did a terrible job.
So or like Wayne's World. Doodoo, 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 doodoo.
Yeah, same vibe.
So if anybody on the listening to our show doesn't know Ootinicast, which is crazy, their show is, I would say, a huge part of why Working Class Nerds is even a show.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
I call it the SWTOR Podcast Infinity Gauntlet, and it started where I was on almost all the podcasts for SWTOR, except one, but that was because their show canceled before I could get on it.
Yeah.
And the first show I was ever on was on Ootinicast. So Chill, how did you guys even decide to start a show?
Well, that goes back to well, obviously this is pre-SWTOR because Ootinicast started pre-SWTOR, but we were kind of aware that, SWTOR was going to be a thing. Tio and I he was actually my raid leader in World of Warcraft. Because I was working nights and there was all the servers were dead in the US servers. So I was actually playing on the Australian server. So that's how I met Tio, because I was, as an American, playing it on the Australian server because I was up late at night. And so that's, like I said, I had a night shift. So that's when I was up. And so we'd known each other then by that time for a couple years, and I had just kind of gotten the bug from so actually I guess we have like a grandparent show almost. This would be Hypnotoad's show. So Hip had a show. It wasn't specifically game related. He just did talk about video games a little bit, but it was sort of like generic pop culture stuff and just what was going on in his life and stuff like that. And so I sent in some things for that. And then I was also listening to like a couple of other shows, like a couple of WoW shows, and sending stuff into that, including one where we were actually like in the guild for, we were like sort of in the guild for one of the podcasts. So, so I had listened to podcasts for a while. I was sort of catching the bug, essentially. I thought it was really fun to, just sort of send things in and just, voice opinions or give information or whatever. And I thought, that might be really fun, but I had no idea how to do it. This was a while ago. This is going back almost 10 years. And I really didn't know how a podcast was really put together. You could Google things and you could kind of figure things out, but it was really difficult. So I approached Tio and I said, I'm really kind of thinking of doing maybe a podcast about the upcoming Star Wars, MMO. And the funny thing is, he said, I was thinking exactly the same thing. He'd apparently been getting the bug too. He hadn't like approached anyone or anything, but once I approached him, it just sort of gelled for both of us, and we took off. And he still is a much much more advanced tech guy than I am. So he sort of like figured out how to do all the setting up of the various sites and settings and feeds that you have to do and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, because 10 years ago, it wasn't like it was today.
No, not at all.
Right. It was definitely different. We were using we used Google Hangouts for the recordings. Audacity was still a thing, so we used that from the get-go. Audacity is really nice. Record your various audio feeds separately, and then you can edit them together. And Tio had some more advanced editing, software and stuff like that as well. In fact, I actually do use Audacity for my audio editing now, and it works just fine. But so that's kind of how we started. Like he had done some of the same things. Like he had sent in some things to the Guild podcast, so he had sort of caught the bug too, and then it just took off from there. So we kind of had to figure out like what did we want the show to be like, and what we were going to name it, and all that sort of stuff. And we took a few months to do that, and then just a couple of months before launch, it was right around early beta, like when it was just starting to become sort of public beta. We launched the show, and we've been going ever since. So
nice.
Yeah. Yep.
What was your fondest memory, if you can think back, in the first year of the show?
Oh, the first year. Like the launch of the game was like really, really fun. It was kind of crazy too, because for anyone who's like played SWTOR and played that first night, it was sort of insane because there was so much interest in Star Wars and, the fact that there's a big MMO around it and just Star Wars gaming in general, that they had to keep like opening up new servers. So like, we had signed up for a server for our guild to be on. And so we were all on that server, like as many people as we sort of were pulling over from WoW and from friendships with WoW and so on. We had like, we had the beginnings of the guild then. But then like all these other servers were popping up and it was just like kind of going crazy. Like, and it was really hard to get on, there's lines and stuff like that, but it was like really exciting. Because we played the game in the beta, but now it was time to play the actual game, and we were on the mighty Space Slug server, which I love. I still love the name of that server, Space Slug server. We always called it the mighty Space Slug server, and and just watching the game sort of unfold that first night was like really exciting, and it was kind of crazy too. I mean, we kind of realized, like, unless the player base stays super high, they're gonna have to like merge servers, and they did. But it was kind of crazy. Like the first night, it went from like 20 servers that they had planned, and they had to open up 100 servers. It's like, what? But yeah, wow. that first night was like really exciting and a lot of fun too. So yeah, I think that for the first year, that was like the big highlight for me, was just watching that opening night.
That sounds incredible. What do you think has contributed the most to the longevity of the podcast? Any one factor, or maybe like a grouping of factors that would come to mind?
Yeah, I would say the one thing that kind of makes it unique for me, and I think for a lot of people, is the fact that like everything is voiced. Like you don't just have to read your quest text off of like off of a screen, essentially. Like everything sort of happens in front of you, and it really makes the whole thing much more immersive. And I think that works for several reasons. Like even if you're not doing, like even if you mostly kind of stay at the end game and stuff, when the next bit of story comes out, you do again sort of get to get pulled back in and get to be immersed. Also, I feel that the immersion and the fact that you get to see all these characters actually interact and talk, and all these cutscenes and special effects and things happening, it really works with the fact that this is a Star Wars game. Like it might not matter so much to have sort of a fully voiced game if it was like a brand new like world. Like if they were developing their own world, I mean, yeah, it would be cool and it would help out. But like just actually seeing like all these like Jedi talking to you and and Sith and having the droids around and having Huttese being spoken and all that, it really pulls me into the game. And I think it's one of the main things that sort of makes the game sort of evergreen, because you never feel like it's just ones and zeros. You definitely have characters, and it's really, to me, that's really important. So.
Would you say that's the game and the immersion of the game is what's made the podcast last the test of time?
Well, yeah, to a degree, but what has made the podcast last is sort of like just general bullheadedness. Like yeah, to do a podcast, like even for your 100 episodes, you have to have the mindset that you're just gonna keep going. And like if you have like an off episode where like maybe there's not a ton of news out there, or or you're just not clicking with a new guest or whatever it is, and it happens, but it doesn't matter. You're just there's going to be the next episode, and you're just going to keep going. And that's sort of how it has to be.
Yeah. So speaking of not clicking with a guest, it stinks when you don't click with your co-host.
Well, fortunately, I've been very fortunate in that.
I wish right then and there, I wish we were on Twitch.
Oh my god!
I wish we were live because you guys could have seen the way I looked at Nick. But no, but
That was incredible.
So lasting 400 episodes is no small feat. And like you said about bullheadedness, right? And being able to do it. And the fascinating part about your show is you've been there since the beginning. So you've seen the rise of the game, the immediate fall, then the rise of free to play, then the fall of the game again, and then the balance of it. And 10 years later, the game's still going. And
Yeah.
I guess
And it
I
didn't
guess
have to. I mean, games come and go a lot of the time. We're very fortunate in that SWTOR, I mean, the fact that they were actually able to make the big switch from a subscriber based to subscriber plus free to play, so that people could actually try out the game and so on. It was very fortunate that it worked as well as it did, because the time that they were making SWTOR, they designed it from the ground up to be a subscriber based game. And that's how it launched. In fact, everyone who was there at launch, there was no free to play. It was, you were subscribed. But the problem was that the market had moved away from them during the development time. And by the time that they launched, all the MMOs pretty much, except for WoW, was just sort of the granddaddy of them. They had like sort of a free to play plus subscription, or they were just free to play straight up. And the fact that they were able to make that transition was huge, because people just weren't subscribing to MMOs in the way they were in years past. And so the fact that they were able to turn it into a game that doesn't have pay to win, they were very careful about that. The few times that where it even sort of cropped up, they ended up nipping it in the bud. And they just did a marvelous job of that. And so we have there's so many people who work on MMOs, and they've got a great front facing community team with Eric Musco, but they've got great writers. They've got great writers now, but they've had different writers all the way through, and they've all been solid, anywhere from solid to fantastic. The fact that they've gotten so many cool voice actors is pretty amazing. Like, for example, like Mako's voice actor is the person who played Gretchen Wiener in Mean Girls. It's like, so if you've ever seen Mean Girls and you like Gretchen Wiener, that's Mako. And
I never realized that.
Yeah, and I found a couple of other ones that are like that too. Like the guy who plays Doc. He's been on Mad TV for like 30 episodes of Mad TV. Like these are not, these are there's a lot of really cool actors out there. Like if you're a fan of the Fairly Odd Parents, which I actually am, because my son was young and when it came out, and I watched a lot of them. And the gal actually who played Timmy Turner has two roles in SWTOR that you will recognize, and it's Holiday from Theron Cedric's girlfriend, his holographic girlfriend Holiday, and Risha from the Smuggler storyline.
Wow.
And both of those are, first of all, they have very different voices, and yet they're the same voice actor. And it's the same voice actor who plays Timmy Turner on the Fairly Odd Parents. So if you've ever seen Fairly Odd Parents, that's Risha and that's Holiday, and that's really cool. They've just done a really cool job. And the fact that we all want more story all the time, more that's kind of how MMOs kind of go. It's like they always kind of depend on that fresh influx every once in a while of new story, or or actual expansions or whatever. And we've had enough of those to keep the game going. Fortunately, we always want more, but they've given us enough that the game is still active and vibrant and all that. And then they did the Steam thing this last year, which is pretty incredible. We actually saw like huge amounts of influxes of new people playing on the opening Planet servers because of that.
Right.
So, and which is really great. So they're actually keeping they're definitely keeping things going. Like, they're like you kind of alluded to before, they're they haven't given us the details, but they are planning on doing some sort of upgrade to like the systems of the game. What that exactly looks like, we don't know. How much of that is going to be visual, or is it kind of like other stuff, or under the hood, or whatever it is? We don't exactly know what that entails. But the
Hood
fact is, they're
toggle.
doing things that are still long term. Like, you don't do that sort of thing if you're planning on shuttering the game in 6 months or a year or even like 2 years. You don't put that sort of effort into a game. And so the fact that they are doing it is like a really, really good sign. And I'm really excited for it.
I do agree with you that changes are coming to the game for sure. And if you're, I keep saying it, the hero engine that the game plays on
Mhm.
is at its max capacity.
Yeah, it's not even. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it is the hero engine, but it's like the SWTOR's massively like under the hood improved. Like they've literally
Right.
taken the hero engine and improved it for their own means and for their own ends, and it's like not even really the hero engine anymore, except in name, and I'm sure in the fact that they probably still have to pay royalties. But yeah, but yeah, it's crazy like how far they've had to drag this sort of like little bony skeleton and put this robust game on top of it, which is kind of insane.
Right. And I feel like if this game is going to go another 5 years, 10 years, or they're focusing on the future, I feel like that's the one thing that would need to be upgraded to be able to have the game last for more years to come.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see if they were able to do that. They've always said in the past that it's a crazy amount of work, because basically you're having to redo like all the visuals in the game, but also everything else in the game, because like the game is sort of structured on like all these little hooks and things, these little objects that code like when a quest starts, when a cutscene starts, and all that sort of thing. And they'd have to roll all that into some other system. And if they're able to do it, like I'll be the first one to pat their backs. It's going to be an amazing, if that is what they're up to, that's an amazing feat. If it's something else, I'm excited to see what it is. We'll see.
What do you think your favorite moment from Ootinicast has been, if you could pick one?
Oh gosh, it. There's
Or
so
maybe
many,
a
so
handful
many.
or something?
Yeah, like, well, it's always fun, like when we got to go to Celebration and actually meet a lot of our guildies, and got to meet Fee and Deck in person. That was like so much fun, and we did a live show there too. So it is actually an Ootinicast too. It wasn't just I'm not just saying it's Ootinicast related, but we actually did a show. We also did another show back when it was like in Vegas, and that was a lot of fun too. And that was like the first time I got to see Tio in person, and that was really cool as well. So like, as much as this is an online game, and you can meet people over Discord and over the internet in various ways, there's something still really special about meeting people in person. And if we're going to go a little bit further afield and say like, okay, well, let's not talk about the in-person stuff, and like just from the show more specifically, there's been some really cool guests. Like Per Composer is still one of my favorites. We had him on a couple of times to talk about the SWTOR music, and his the way he's able to take sort of music theory and just knowledge of music in general, and
That was a good
let us
show.
know more. Yeah, let us know more about music and how the SWTOR music was being used. It was just really special. It was fun having Doc on. Of course, he became a guest later on, but having him on those original times when he was talking about his PhD doctorate, and like what he was going to do for it, and helping him out with that, and seeing what all the numbers were, and going through all those were all really cool. So there's been a lot of fun guests, and it's just been a lot of fun doing that. And so and I love having Kitty on, actually, because we have a lot of fun doing dual streams together as well. It's like changed sort of how I think about the game a lot. Just doing the dual streams with Kitty has like made me realize, like, I do some like guild stuff, but I've been like very, very solo about it for the last like couple of years, and doing the dual streams with Kitty has been great too, and it's been fun talking about that too.
Yeah, it's been really fun.
Yeah, and
I
Kitty,
will
how about
say,
you? I know, you don't have the whole of the Ootinicast, but like, how about like the last since you started co-hosting, like, what was your favorite bit?
I don't know. I think that just being part of the show is cool.
Mhm.
Going from, I mean, basically Ootinicast is what got me to stay in the game, and finding the guild through the podcast, then meeting everybody in the guild and becoming friends, and then all of a sudden, coming on to the show, and then now being a host of the show. It's kind of surreal, but I think it's just,
Yeah.
getting to know you better, I think is one of the best things that's happened so far. I mean, not only in game, but Chill comes over every couple weeks, and we do a little guitar stuff, and
Yeah,
that's
it's been a
just
lot of
kind of
fun.
cool. It's cool that I hear your voice. I know you in game, but then I see you in real life too, which is I don't know. I appreciate that stuff. I like it.
Yeah.
It's very good.
the okay, so so here's where I'm gonna love you guys both. There's no question that the show being on as long as it has, and whenever you hear the word third time's the charm, I think this is the moment where the show has taken a new direction, because
Mhm.
you both play the game. I don't want to say the same way because you play it differently, but you both love the story.
Yeah.
And these last months that Kitty's been there, as soon as Kitty says, "Oh, I'm doing this Jedi Sentinel and or whatever, and I'm doing this, and this guy," it's just random NPC says blah blah blah, and Chill, you know exactly what he's talking about, and you guys go on like a
Right.
10-minute mini rant about this one guy being rude about this one part in the story.
Right.
It makes me want to go play that story quest just to find that one little NPC. Oh, that's what they were talking about. And the energy that you both have because of it. And then now add in the whole dual streaming. It's like you guys are the total package of a show now. And I'm not taking anything away from Doc or Tio because they were different hosts, but you two have that same style and same energy about the class stories, which makes it so much fun. Uh, and I love it,
Well,
and
thanks.
I
I
laugh
appreciate that.
hysterically.
Yeah. Ultimately, we just we've always been playing on the Ootinicast. We've been we sort of play it the way we have, and it sort of develops over time. Like I did a fair bit of operations with Tio early on. Our operations group kind of broke up when for that period of time during Coffee Kotet when they decided they just weren't going to do new operations. But then they have brought them back since, but unfortunately that did sort of kill our operations group when they decided that. And then the way I play and the way that the co-hosts have played has definitely changed over time. And I think it's been very fortunate though that Kitty and I do sort of play along the same lines, because it has given us a chance to sort of like cross over, and like we end up talking, and we do sort of recognize, like the one weird guy who had the macro binoculars glued to his head
Right.
on Terrace, for the smuggler story and whatever. It's like
That's yeah, but that's what I mean. The chemistry between you two, it's like, and it just so happens that you guys live in the same area of the country. You guys met each other in real life. I don't know. It's just
yeah.
to me, it's like it's meant to be.
That is pretty
right?
amazing.
Well, yeah, but you guys have that too. I mean, you're literally doing this from the same building, from the same room.
Yeah, we're
Naked.
Which is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, we're naked. No, we're not naked. We have shirts on.
We're just
It's
not
like
wearing.
we're flying X-wings. Okay, we have it's a no pants party. Okay,
Yeah,
Wearing
Um,
hats.
so my last question is, when Ootinicast is over, what would you say to somebody who asked you, what was it like to podcast for 400 episodes?
I'm sorry, Marcus. Some of that cut off.
All right, I said when this is all over and Ootinicast is done and 5 years down the road, you say to somebody, I had a show that had 500 episodes on it. And they say, what can you tell me about it? What would you tell them?
Oh,
Buckle
I
up.
would, yeah, right. I would say that what ultimately was like, it really was worthwhile because it's given me so much in the way of like meeting new people, learning new things, learning more about the game, but things of outside the game as well. It, pushing my personal comfort zone. It's definitely made me more extroverted than I used to be. And I'm not by any means an extrovert, but I am more extroverted than I used to be. And it's so worthwhile. Like just having the experience itself has been like a wonderful sort of addition to my life, I would say. So yeah, I would say like if you ever catch the bug, like Marcus is saying, like it's not difficult, especially nowadays. And it wasn't that difficult back then. It's kind of intimidating. Don't be intimidated. It's totally worthwhile. And and I think a lot of people have like a lot of good ideas for podcasts out there. That would be, like a really good addition to the podcasting world, and that people would love to listen to, that I would love to listen to. So yeah, if you've got the bug to do a podcast, definitely go for it.
Sure. Okay. Where can everybody find you guys?
Right. Well, Ootinicast.com is our website. You can find the podcast on the usual places, Apple Podcasts and Stitcher, and some of the other big cumulative places as well. And we do throw up the raw version of the show. Well, first of all, we do record it live on Twitch, so you can actually watch it live and join in the conversation, because we do talk with the chat room and so on. Then the raw version of the show is out on YouTube, so you can check it out there if you like. And then after that, we edit the audio version. The edited audio version then goes out as a polished podcast, like I say, to Apple Podcasts and all that stuff. So yeah, so all the usual podcast places pretty much. And you can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. I would say that if you're gonna follow us on social media specifically, definitely do the Twitter thing, because that's where we do like the weekly polls for Jedi mind tricks or Jedi mind traps and so on. So definitely, if you're a social media person, definitely check us out on Twitter at Ootinicast.
And where can they watch you on Twitch?
It's twitch.tv/Ootinicast, and we always spell it OOTINI. So that's our own special spelling of the word Ootini. It's not the official Star Wars one. It's the one that it's spelled like the way it actually sounds. that's always how we've done it. Yeah. And then Kitty, I do a stream at twitch.tv/chillsroom, and then Kitty does it at twitch.tv/kittykisses. And give them the spelling, Kitty.
KITTYKISSZ.
There you go.
You can also find me on Twitter at GMKittyKisses on Twitter.
Meow.
Jeez, Nick, hurry up. We're trying to finish this podcast.